promotion, whatever. So it's not like people put out 3 o'clock sharp, unless Eric Lindquist or Brad Thomas told people in friends and family type circles that we would be here. GoldBoys, OddsShopper, James is producing. We have a shit ton to get to here. Normally, Mondays, Wednesdays, we'll be here 3 p.m. Eastern on both the GoldBoys YouTube and the OddsShopper stochastic playback. But look, this is our first show. We wanted to make sure that it was pristine by all means. The people on playback got a sneak preview. This is what I love, Brad, is that you here first time with E, you got like playback, got a sneak preview to the level of dysfunction whenever the two of us get together. Like it wouldn't have mattered if we got here at 2 o'clock. We would have started late somehow.
Listen, hey, I'm just happy to be talking sports. I say this all the time. Like, I love betting on sports. I love talking about them. So as long as I'm doing that, I'm fine.
See, we're going to get along just fine then, because that's exactly what I'm looking for in a friend. And Eitan, he's more of an acquaintance. So I need more friends in the circles here to go bet with. But yeah, the man is living a life of luxury out there in PA, sitting in a forest. He's in Narnia at the moment. Hopefully he can chill out and find us some good bets. We can move on with our lives.
Look, I've got a 8-month-old and 3-year-old boy each sleeping in the house right now. I would be a fool to tempt fate, even if I were 2 stories below them in my office in a basement that's got a noise machine and everything. I would be a fool, as Brad can attest to this, to tempt fate and try to wake that baby, both for my personal life with my wife and my sanity with my kids. So I've got no choice but to be outside. Real quick, I'll say this. If this will push Brad into that circle, there isn't anybody on the OddsShopper / stochastic channel that's really as visible as you, Lindy, just because you're constantly doing shit. Brad has already been on 5 shows today. All right. So you want a guy that works hard. Brad, I saw Bet US you were on, your NBC gig. I'm sure you did something for GoldBoys before this.
Yeah, I didn't do anything for GoldBoys yet, but yeah, I do shows all day. Have another one right after this. I have the Bet the Edge podcast with NBC. So I'm on all day long, and 3 or 4 times a week, it's pretty much shows all day.
Love it, man.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm now the laziest person on this stream, which I didn't see coming at any point in time, but here we are. That's fantastic. Obviously, you've got a fantastic jersey on as well. We've got some rooting interests that are aligned here for France, just underway. Looking forward to watching this one when we get off.
Real quick, before we look back, and we have to highlight something that was just magnificent. We have to go back in time, technically, without the help of Emmett Brown here. But let's look at this real quick. What action do you guys have on this French game?
Yeah. I'll go first. I have a ton.
You started off.
I don't have a ton. I have 2 bets. I have Mbappe to score at even money, and then I have France team total over 1.5.
Nice.
I have France exacta. They have to win either 3-0, 2-0, 1-0. That's plus 185. Any other outcome is a loss on that. And then I have Griezmann, anytime point score, so assist or goal. Nice. And then plus 105, same thing where it's Mbappe, and those are put together to push it over 3-1. So I'm looking for the Griezmann to Mbappe connection. No PKs. Yes. None of that garbage. I just want a cross in the middle and a clean goal, and I can go on living my life.
Well, I'm a little surprised. Like an exact score, I love that. You're speaking my language here, but that's not a typical Eric Lindquist. That's a little belligerent for you. You're a little out there on that, out of pocket, I think.
Well, when teams play a team like France, where we know the pedigree that they have coming in, World Cup finals, lots of unbelievable ability on the offensive end, there's going to be teams that try to pack it in or score a quick goal. And I just don't think Austria up top has enough to really put anything on the board. So for me, it's just a question of, does France push it to 4-0 or is it going to be 0-0? Those feel like the only ways that I end up losing this. The amount of range of outcomes that I'm getting for like nearly 2-1 on a 3-0, 2-0, 1-0 spot here for France, it feels too good to be true.
Yeah, I agree. This French team is really good, and Deschamps is a pretty, I would say, smart tactical manager. His goal is not to run it up. He wants to win every game, but he wants to manage his team well. And how you do that is not allowing the game to get stretched when you're up. You just play smart. You milk the time as much as possible. If he needs to go for goal differential later in the group stages, that's fine. But that's just not the kind of manager he is. He's not going to try to run it up.
Man, this is all right. Underway now. So you guys will be live sweating this. Just let us know, by all means, if
15 minutes in, nothing yet. Nothing yet.
Yeah, I know. But if it goes 1-1 in the next, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes that we're here doing this show, I need absolute crush face from Eric Lindquist, please. Because Brad, we can't stomp on your moment. Like, this is going to be secondary because we are the idiots who decided to tail the biggest loser on tour since Greg Norman, even though it's a disaster. It's a disgrace to put money on Rory McIlroy right now. Somebody needs to be talked down. A building.
Time out. So when I hit you up, the conversation was simply with the top of the leaderboard that we had, Pavone, who's such a wild card and somebody that I think, overall is going to be fun to watch going forward. Another Frenchman, ironically enough. And then Bryson DeChambeau with, the potential wayward driver situation. The guy putted like a god over 4 days. It is what it is. But we got plus 330 on Rory McIlroy coming into that final round to win. Regardless of the outcome, regardless of the short misses, a bet is as good as it is when you make it. That is the only thing you can control. I can't control him putting from 2 feet. It was a phenomenal bet. He's minus 500 to win with 3 holes left after Bryson misses his shorty. He follows it up by missing a shorty, but it was fluctuating. It was basically running into a coin flip at the end of that, holding the plus 330 side. Which one would you rather have, Eitan, knowing what you knew before those last 3 holes?
I'm gonna just take that and just quick pass that back to somebody who's holding a 50-1 DeChambeau ticket. If James, if we can look at this thing of beauty right here.
That.
Right. So here's the thing. I know what I'm feeling like at minus 500 at that moment when Rory has victory in his hands. But what's Brad Thomas like? What are you thinking right now on this Father's Day, nonetheless?
So to put this in perspective, when Rory won, what was it, Wells Fargo, I had Xander Schauffele, and that was Mother's Day, right? I think that was Mother's Day weekend, and now it's Father's Day weekend. So I'm reliving this pain with my wife again, and we're out again celebrating, and I'm like at a restaurant, and I keep telling her, I go, babe, it's happening again. The same thing just keeps happening to me. I keep losing to these losers. These guys are just cutting me down, and it's not like same with Xander, like. When we got to the 10th hole at Wells Fargo, Xander started blowing up. Bryson couldn't make putts, and he could not hit a fairway. And I was like, everything just feels like the cards are stacked against me. To make it worse, I bet Bryson to win each of the 4 majors. So I've had so many Bryson calls, like close calls, where it's just like continuously hurting my soul. But I swear to God, if I wasn't in this little fancy restaurant, I would have been screaming at the top of my lungs. My wife was like, hey, are you okay? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you're not like celebrating crazy. I go, yeah, because we're at the dinner. Just wait till we walk out of this building and I'm screaming.
That's beautiful. So that makes me feel a little bit better. I still feel dead inside today, but it is what it is. Bryson was a great back. And again, getting 50-1 there, getting in early on some of these prices, right. That is what you want to be doing. I had a Ludwig ticket that looked good through 2 days that, was sitting north of that 25-30 back before you were really seeing this ascent of Ludwig. You see these number 1 amateurs coming up, and you can kind of blindly back a lot of them and probably run into some really nice numbers. But Bryson, 50-1 in this spot, that's a beautiful ticket.
Yeah, it was. No, it was funny too, because I don't think I had when I posted it, I said something like, I'm taking him to win all 4 majors because it just feels right. Like I didn't have crazy strong analysis for it. I just felt like he was going to be a major and win another major this year. And it kind of correlated with his success on LIV a little bit at that time. The season was just ending. He had just finished a successful LIV season. Felt like he was maturing a little bit. His body was maturing. Wasn't Mr. Doughboy lift all the weights, but more like, I just want to be strong, quick twitch. And he still pumps the ball a mile,
It's wild, man. Like, he looks like a completely different person, to your point, Brad, with slimming down. the goatee, the
Yeah.
hat a little lower. It's almost like he left some villain and spent years in this cave and comes back like this change. He
Yeah.
just looks like a brand new different. I still can't root for him, but there are plenty of times I've bet on either things I don't watch or people that I don't like,
Oh,
knowing
all
that
the time. If that was a
Look at Rory
qualification for
McIlroy.
betting, you know how
You
fucked I would
forced
be?
me.
I wouldn't bet
You
on
forced
anybody.
me.
They're
Yeah.
all evil. They're all awful at a certain point. You think Bryson DeChambeau, he reminds me so much of Don Johnson's character on Tin Cup. It pains me. He is the classic, like, I'm going to be amazing in front of the camera. And then maybe when it's off, it's like, oh, he kicks dogs. But no, Bryson isn't that bad. I do think the Don Johnson comparison might be going a little far, but there's no doubt that Bryson DeChambeau, I'm glad that he is turning a new leaf. I'm glad that we can kind of cheer for him in some capacity because let me tell you, there weren't a lot of things to cheer for on Live at any point in time if you're me.
You know what's funny? I've liked Bryson for a long time, since before he was pro. This is actually the most random story ever. I was out, I think I was working API on Thursday, and I was just walking around. Bryson's about to tee off. You know, he's this hot amateur everyone's talking about. And I just start walking with their group. I end up walking the entire tournament with his aunt. And she's like telling me all these stories about him. And we're just walking and talking and learning about Bryson. I was like, wow, this became like a thing where I'm a Bryson guy. And then when I would see him, like when he would do a press conference, I'd always make sure I said hi. You know, it was like one of those things where I didn't ever think I would be like a Bryson supporter when he was an amateur, but I just happened to run into his aunt at API. And then we walked the entire 18 together, which kind of made me feel like I was family.
Look at that. So there's a little deeper connection to that win.
Oh, man.
You feel like
for sure. Big. And you know what's funny? This is totally like random, but he was the last golfer I talked to before the outbreak happened. I dapped him up at the golf tournament, and I was like, COVID outbreak happened. I was like, what if I infected Bryson because I had COVID, you know? And he was like one of the last golfers I had talked to and said hi to at that event.
Well, look, he's doing okay. Right.
So
now.
it's the butterfly effect. We have you to blame for Rory falling apart, because if that doesn't happen, it's the wave in Japan. It's the butterfly effect of everything. Rory doesn't miss a 2-footer. It goes in the bottom of the cup. But either way, I'm happy to see such a beautiful ticket, because it's not like we were holding anything that pretty with Rory.
Yeah,
we were never. It's been 15 years since you got a nice price on Rory McIlroy in a damn thing.
No, that's
even when Rory's like not playing well, like even at Wells Fargo, I think the best you could get was 10-1.
Yeah,
it's a joke.
No, you're right.
It's just a straight up joke.
And to jump ahead on that is just fantastic. So more than the misery suffered by Eric and Eitan, congrats to Brad for knocking that 50-1 smash down on Bryson. All right, here we go. NBA Finals tonight. Reminder, if you're watching on the GoldBoys YouTube channel, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. If you're watching on playback here, is there any action that we need from people, Eric? Do people need to subscribe or do it, or just bookmark this and know that we're here?
You hit the imaginary like button and you just simply show up. You have the notifications on. You make sure that when we go live, you can see us go live over here. And we're going to be able to do a lot of screen share stuff with you. We do a lot of that on the DFS side of things. From a betting perspective, going on OddsShopper quite a bit and perusing bets, perusing cards. We can start doing some of that as well in the Pick'em streets. So looking forward to doing a lot of screen share stuff on playback going forward. Again, this is our maiden voyage. We want to kind of kick off talking betting, talking sports, because that's kind of what the three of us do best and kind of what we want to do here, why we're showing up in the first place.
Look at that Harambe Slayer in the house. We got to give him a shout.
Harambe Slayer. Now we're official. Now we made it.
Yeah, one of the OGs on the OS Discord there for sure. All right, let's do this. Let's go rapid fire here, and then we can kind of talk about some stuff. But what the number one thing that's talking to you? It doesn't matter if it's a side, if it's a team total, if it's a 5-leg parlay, but whatever it is that is jumping out. Brad, if you want to start, the one thing that's jumping out at you, at least the top thing that's jumping out at you tonight for the game.
Jason Tatum over 7.5. Over 6.5 first quarter points. If you want to take it at over 8.5 for a little bit better price, that's fine. He's just going to have the volume. Also, I was watching that game, the last game with one of my Boston friends, and he said it early, but he's like, man, they don't want to win this game in Dallas. They want to win it in Boston. And it felt like the team just kind of quit, but they're going to be coming out swinging, because the last thing you need to do is lose back to back. And then it's a whole different ball game when you have a 3-2 lead as opposed to 3-1 and you close it out at home. I think Jason Tatum, when he hit this game before last, and that was probably one of his worst shooting performances, yet he just took so many shots, ended up going to the free throw line, ended up making 2 threes, cashed it. So I like Jason Tatum to get at least 7 points in the first quarter.
I love that.
I like that.
Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
tell that.
this is a guy
Yeah.
who has scored over 20 points, once? And that came game 3.
Yep.
So and look, I get it, like the whole narrative and discuss. I said rapid fire, and here I am blabbing away. Go ahead, Eric.
No, I was going to say, who had the 30-plus points, 4+ threes in Boston money line in that game 3? He must be pretty sharp, right, A-Town?
You're only as good as your latest ticket, all right? And,
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, my latest ticket sucks.
You can't
so never
bring
mind.
up old shit. This is our first show, and you're patting yourself on the
Stupid
back.
Rory
game
McIlroy. I
4?
get it.
Right.
I get it. No, we're going back to the NBA streets, and Kyrie Irving under 23.5 points. We've seen 12 and 16 from him. I don't know what the juju is in the Boston building, but the guy has proclivity to not make 3-pointers, to not knock down shots in the hostile environment. And your buddy saying that Boston wanted to lose that game, I don't know if that was necessarily the case, as much as was Dallas decided to finally shoot enough 3-pointers. Yep. And that's really what mattered, shooting over 40% from 3. Kyrie is 0 for 8 so far in Boston, shooting from 3 here in this series. I do expect positive regression. Maybe he'll knock down 1 or 2 here in this spot, but there's no doubt that Drew Holiday, Derek White, having the backing of the Boston crowd, everything going for these Boston Celtics, there's a reason they're minus 270 here. And for the same number to appear in back-to-back spots for Kyrie, 23.5. Hefty number where you can get minus 102 over at DK. That was the number earlier. I think you want to be jumping on that.
I like that. No issues here, Brad. Any pushback?
No. I don't think Kyrie this time saged the Garden. So if he doesn't have his sage, he's definitely going under.
I love it. Yeah, that's a pretty good indicator.
Crazy, man.
Right? Okay. Let me throw this one in here. It's already moved to 12.5. I actually don't hate that. And I assume, and again, you can just check OddsShopper. You're going to get it at plus money at 12.5. It was at 11.5. Decent lay earlier in the day. And that's PJ Washington over points. And it's a couple of things. One, just the funneling. And, we were talking about this earlier, just looking at him getting the volume, not looking at the lack of production with foul trouble. That's more of an outlier. The reality is he's getting shots 9+, at least double-digit shots and everything else. Again, you throw away the one in which he got foul trouble. Taking shots, he can't disappear, not for Dallas. So even if you like Dallas to backdoor or hang or do whatever in this game, it's going to come as a result, I think, of PJ Washington, especially when one of the two big guys struggles. So I'll push this up to 13. Again, you look at 13 as a baseline for what he's been able to score in this series. He's got the shot volume to do that. So if he's not in foul trouble like we saw in a blowout, I think you're absolutely going to get there. And at plus money, I'm fine. So it was 11.5 earlier, but now it's at 12.5, and I'll push that up there.
Yep, PJ Washington. It's simply, what does Boston need to do defensively to counter whatever the hell just happened in game 4? Again, Dallas needs to continue to shoot threes. Even if they don't have great 3-point shooting, which I don't think they really do, you need to up the variance with a team like Boston who can have every single guy out on the floor. I mean, even Al Horford shoots better than 40% from 3 out there, and he's like the 5th option anytime in that offense amongst the characters he's playing with. So it's pretty tough to envision a scenario where PJ Washington won't at least be given the opportunity to score the basketball. He'll have, Jason Tatum assignment primarily, and going through PJ Washington box scores against Oklahoma City, other spots like this, he's going to get some open 3-pointers. Teams are going to allow a guy who is around 30%, has terrible true shooting to chuck. And, 14 minutes the last game. I look at nothing from game 4. I take no takeaways from that whatsoever. I'm going to games 1 through 3. We're going to see him on the floor a lot.
Yeah, agreed.
Right.
It's easy to strike a line through that last game, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. And I think in most cases, like you did with Tatum, like I'm looking at with PJ, it jumps out. It jumps out as an outlier. Al Horford, by the way, is 38 years old, right? Like, trust me, I keep seeing this dude. He stole money from the Sixers and then turned around and has been killing this team ever since. I swear, if I just told somebody who lived on the other side of the planet, who didn't follow the NBA, what this was, they would think it would be illegal to do what he did against Philly. Like, who is, you said characters.
He had a 6.4 estimated win share when he was with Philly. He had an unbelievable season. What are you talking about?
Exactly right. Yeah, you're going to hit me with win share here. I'm going to hit you with the optics of how bad that was. It's just, look, who's the Hollywood version of Al Horford? Like, who is the old ass actor that's still doing like everything, like supporting actor that you still see? It used to be like, remember when Harvey Keitel was doing like every fucking thing, and it'd just be like, oh yeah, he's the fifth person in a movie. There's Harvey Keitel. Like, he's just, Al Horford won't go away, and I don't want him to go away. Keep making that money. I'm just saying, like, who is the on-screen version of that?
Brad and I are stumped.
I don't know.
Keitel, I wouldn't be able to pick him out of a 2-person lineup. I don't know.
Maybe I dated myself with there was another guy named Bob Hoskins who was like a supporting actor in everything. He was never a lead, never a 2, but he was always like a 3. So there's got to be some old ass actor right now that's hanging around, like Harrison Ford, right? Yeah. But he's a lead, so he wouldn't count, right?
Right.
He wouldn't count. That's what I mean. Like, who's the 3 or 4 in a movie that's in like every single freaking movie? That's got to be like, 50 plus, 55 plus. Oh, we'll throw it to the chat.
Yeah,
that's
throw
fine.
it to the chat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right now, I got nothing for you off the top of the head.
That's fine. That's fine, man. Look, both of you are so sharp on your feet. Do live shows, do pre-stuff. Like, I figured I could get something. It's a little.
You got legitimately nothing. You found the blind spot, which is, for me, every person that I think of is a movie star in that category. Like, like my Ian McKellen. We're talking Gandalf. Come on now, Eric. It is I'm trying to think of like the number 3 or 4 call sheet guy that just repeatedly. I think actress might be a little bit easier, where you see. But now everybody who had that category now is a leading actor, which is ironic.
Yeah, but like, think about that. To your point, real quick, I don't want to. We'll let the chat open this up. But to your point, who's the most famous like mom or dad that you see?
Allison Janney.
Who?
Allison Janney probably would be the closest to the thing you brought up. But then Allison Janney won an Oscar for I, Tonya, so it really.
What I gotta watch more of this shit, because I don't know who the hell this woman is.
Allison Janney, she's probably the perfect person to bring up what you said. She's in everything. She's never a lead. She's always supporting, but she was on. I was gonna say I, Tonya is what she won the Oscar for.
All right, so real quick, we had over 7.5, right, Brad? Or 6.5, pardon me.
6.5.
Over 6.5 first quarter points, just to put this down here for our NBA Finals parlay. Over 6.5 first quarter points for Tatum. We had for Lindy under Kyrie points, right? 23.5.
Yes, sir.
And then for me, over 12.5, which is now no longer an alt. PJ. All right, we'll put that together. Is there anything else you want to get out in this game as we stump the chat here and see if they can come up with anybody better than Allison Janney?
No, I'm the kind of guy, like, when you get to these closeout games, I always get so afraid of being really like heavy, right? Because unless you're taking overs on guys in the closeouts who are going to go for the MVP, like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, guys who want that MVP who are going to try to show out. But then if it's a blowout, then you're sitting holding some tickets on some big prices that aren't going to come to fruition.
Yeah, it's price and probability. You don't want to overthink it. It's yet another game. We're going to have the NBA season wrap back around starting up middle October. You don't need to get your exposure because it's the last game. I think that's what I'm always worried of, is like, oh, well, I got to bet on this because NBA is my highest ROI and I need to just find action or find something here. It's really hard. There is a piece of injury news in Kristaps Porzingis. If somehow, some way you can read the tea leaves on, obviously he was on an emergency as need basis in game 3. If you have some inkling that Al Horford somehow is going to play sub 34 minutes in a competitive spot, sure, go ahead and short him, put single game parlays. And when you're right, you'll really be right. But overall, you don't really need to force it in this spot. You try to just go off of what just happened and take advantage of recency bias that might exist in the marketplace. I think that's probably where you're looking at Jason Tatum, where people are saying, oh, he's not having a great series. He's not the leader to win MVP. It's Jaylen Brown minus 200 everywhere. And then you want to be shorting a Kyrie Irving for me, where he always looked better the last 2 games. Congratulations. Welcome back to Boston.
Yep. Yeah, I like it, man. There's no need to force this just because it's the last game. You see this with the Super Bowl. See this all the time, right? And I think both you guys are onto something. There's nothing more that I'm going to force either here. I did put that little parlay in here, and I forced Eric to bet this with me, Brad. This was his bet for the Rory McIlroy debacle. James, do you have this one up here too, the FanDuel one? Because we're going to play ours like the community one here, which is the 3 of ours. But this was the 3-leg one on FanDuel. This is the one that we put together here. And look, it's, again, we're just adding Luka instead of Brad's leg. But I like Brad's leg better anyway than Luka. Luka's been struggling, man, to get to that number and really hasn't actually gotten to 33. Again, you put a lot into this basket here, but that's all.
33 points are a lot to get, especially on the road.
In a closeout game in which I don't know what they do. Like, what does Jason Kidd do if they're down by 25 in the fourth quarter? Because that's such a real.
You keep them out there. So that's what I'm concerned about, is that we get into those 20, 25 point scenarios. Because I think you're probably running into 44 minutes no matter what. Like, even in those like blowout type scenarios, it's really hard to envision not having Kyrie and Luka out there to at least play it out. It's an elimination game. I mean, we see this a lot where, even down 20, down 25, you do not want the narrative to be that you quit in the last game of the season. And so there is that little tiny blind spot. Like, again, I think this game, we've played to the under 4 straight times. It's sitting at 209.5, 210 everywhere. And that's for me where you look at some of the stars. And it's the thing that kind of gets me a little bit timid about the 26.5 Jason Tatum, along with 3s that I put together last night, is, it doesn't feel like a great bet in hindsight, purely because I'm looking at some of these stars, specifically Luka, Kyrie. I really like that one that we put together where PJ Washington, hey, go ahead and shoot some 3s, enjoy. But Drew Holiday and Derek White coming off of evisceration in a game 4 feels pretty good backing him here defensively in game 5.
Yeah. And France scored, by the way. Own goal.
See?
Own goal?
Mbappe tried to cross it in, header by the defender into the net.
Wow.
I'll take it. Well, I got 2 more to work with. So give me a little bit of something there.
Let me tell you something.
That's beautiful.
If you lose that exact score bet 4-0, and the fourth one of those goals is an own goal header, that's like losing one of
pain.
Yeah, I hope.
After Rory yesterday, nothing affects me. I'm immune.
I understand.
Yeah, I've been vaccinated in some capacity to ill will the rest of the week.
So real quick here, let's look at anything else we have on the day. We're back on Wednesday, but we can have some fun on the Euro that's going on here. I'm sure both of you, especially Brad, has eyes on that. Anything in baseball tonight, or if you want to get ahead of Dinger Tuesday, that's fine too. But real quick, let me just remind everybody here that's watching, 2 things are going on. One with the GoldBoys. Well, let's just get GoldBoys, then we'll talk about our thing coming up before we get out of here. But GoldBoys.com, if you want your first month free at GoldBoys.com, which you definitely should be doing here, you can go sign up at BetMGM. They have a link there for you on site where you can go ahead and sign up at MGM. You'll walk through the process. It's super easy, and you'll get your first month free of GoldBoys.com. So that's kind of the combination here. We know you're not on MGM. You're a creature of habit. You're on 2 books. I don't use that MGM. Like, we know that you don't use shit outside of your comfort zone. You eat the same shit every day, all that other stuff. Break out, join MGM. It's in a state most likely that chances are maybe you're in Florida like Brad and you're stuck with a monopoly, or Eric in California where you can't bet at all. But anyway, you get your first month free at GoldBoys.com by doing that whole thing. signing up at BetMGM. And last I checked, your first bet's back up to $1,500 at MGM. So that's a pretty cool deal that you get. That bonus bet back if you lose and the month free. All right, baseball. Let's look at this here. You want to start, E? I've got something on the diamond, Brad. I'm not sure what you're looking at here as far as anything in baseball, Euro, what have you, but I know Eric is chomping at the bit, man.
Yeah, get after it, Eric.
Dude, I haven't made Aton vomit, but we're going to his Philadelphia Phillies today to bet alternate everything. We are going to go ride the train up the team total ladder, and we're going to look at Kyle Schwarber. I know that it's really, really short odds. Let me just pull up everything that I was looking at earlier there for him from a long ball perspective. But how about 2 long balls here going up against Mr. Randy Vasquez? If you break down his numbers, I haven't seen this kind of like power metric going up against a guy in quite some time. He's a righty taking on a left-handed heavy ball. Well, the power exists in the Phillies lineup there. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, but Schwarber specifically. There's only an 11.3% K rate for Randy Vasquez going up against lefties on the season. That's about as low as you'll find for starting pitchers in the platoon all season long. 257 expected ISO is outrageous. Kyle Schwarber, 241 expected ISO against righties on the season, and 90-degree weather, 85 degrees at first pitch here, wind blowing out to center. Kyle Schwarber double dong season is in full effect. He leads off. He's got super short odds in the one individual side there, but Randy Vasquez is going to get absolutely annihilated. This totals up to 9.5. I am happy with that total, but I specifically am looking at like 4.5, 5.5, 6.5 for the Philadelphia Phillies. This is going to be a beatdown situation.
Man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I love everything that you said. Every single thing that you said. Look, here's the biggest thing about it is that this is a team that's been riding high, and rightfully so. And it's not so much like, oh, the schedule and who they beat up. They just had a tough stretch on the road against the AL East Pacific, where they just ended up. Nothing has changed at home. Nothing has changed in which their margin of victory is well over the run line at home. The amount of runs, the run differential. This is where guys really are pitching, not just, right, Wheeler and what you have with Ranger. I mean, everybody, yes, everybody is pitching well at home for the most part here. No, I love it. Oh, by the way, we have this thing, and I don't think you know about this only because you're out in the West Coast. But Brad, do you guys? I know it's in Florida. I just don't know where in Florida. But you have Wawa, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I love Wawa.
Okay, I love Wawa. I like Joe. I love it. All right, so here's the thing, man. So Wawa has this thing, and I don't know if it's just in Philly or whatever, but Wawa has this thing called Hoagie Fest.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So Hoagie Fest starts today. Today is day 1 of Hoagie Fest. And let me just tell you something. This is bizarre, but it's accurate. For some reason, as it warms up, and we're just hitting a ridiculous heat streak right now in Philadelphia, that's when Schwarber has warmed up and starts smashing home runs. And it's coincided on the calendar with Wawa's Hoagie Fest. So day 1 of Hoagie Fest is like open the floodgates for Kyle Schwarber, which is another reson why I got to slam this thing right here.
18-1. 2 homers. Why not? Why not us, bro? Why not us?
I'll take a little shorter odds on this one here. Yeah. Let me stay in this game real quick, Brad, and then you can go nuts, only because I was looking at something a little less aggressive, if you will, but I thought something that just felt a lot better here. And I'm going to play an alt on the run line and take the first 5. Phillies minus 1.5 at plus 122. Again, OddsShopper will give you 50% off with code LIVE on OddsShopper, so you can go out and take advantage of everything. We'll show you as we do more shows, kind of highlight some stuff from OddsShopper, but we're just going to get in and out today and kind of give you an idea of who we are at the very least. But minus 1.5 here. Again, a lot of this is just being at home, the bats cooking up. This is a very, very advantageous spot for the Phillies. And the Padres come in with a little difficulty right here. I'm not really sold, as you said, with Randy Vasquez, and I think that gives the Phillies a shot to get out here. So I'll take them laying 1.5 first 5 money line at plus money.
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, Mbappe.
Did he do it?
Oh, my God.
Did he do it?
No, he had a one-on-one with the keeper, but couldn't control it.
I love it. I love it. All right. We're going to get out of here in a couple of minutes. Brad's got his 6th show of the day to get to, and it's way more important than this because I'm sure there's a paycheck or two associated with it. So, do you have anything tonight, tomorrow, soccer, Euro, MLB, whatever you got, brother?
Yeah, I got a future bet, man. And it's for Copa America. Starts Wednesday, Thursday, one of the 2 days. I have too many things going on to keep up with the calendar, but it's Darwin Nunez of Uruguay to be the Golden Boot winner. I'm going to throw in a little bonus too, right? That's plus 600, but I also took him to be the leading scorer of his team. I'm going to be quick with this, and I want to tell you, first of all, he's in a great group for scoring. United States, Panama, Bolivia, a team they should destroy in Bolivia and run it up. He is the point man. He's the one who they are servicing, the goal funnel. Anytime you want to bet a Golden Boot winner, you want to bet the funnel. If you look at all of the guys on the list to win the Golden Boots, let's go with Messi. You go with Julian Alvarez, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, Martinelli. There's a common trend. Those guys play on 2 different teams, right? All of those guys. There's so many cooks in the kitchen. There's no cooks in the kitchen except Darwin Nunez. I expect him to have, I called that he will have at least 1 hat trick in this tournament and a brace in this group. That means he's going to have 3 goals in 1 game in this tournament. And then one of those games in his group stage, he's going to have at least 2 goals.
Does he take PKs for them too? Because
he takes PKs as well.
Okay. Because I don't know if he gives Liverpool, but I know
guy and
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's a Liverpool guy, and I think the pressure of being in Liverpool sometimes get a lot. He doesn't play a lot. He plays a lot for Uruguay. He is the man for that team, and also it helps that they have Bielsa. They look kind of similar. They have Bielsa as their coach, who plays more of a free flowing football, which should open you up to more scoring opportunities.
That's awesome. Yeah, he doesn't have to deal with Diaz or Salah or anybody else over in Liverpool.
Exactly.
It sets up pretty nicely for him. I like that. I'm going to tail that too. Good times.
Yeah, exactly right. That's also selfishly here, at least for me, is we're going to get plays out for people, what have you, and we'll let everybody know where everyone is, the 3 of us and all, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that. Tailing. Thank you. So let's do this real quick. At Mr. I thought it was Mr. Brad Thomas. Is it just Brad Thomas now?
No, Mr. Brad Thomas. At Mr. Brad Thomas.
Okay, so you had in the bottom. The Mr.
Oh,
was
who
gone.
Messed that up?
Oh, that's straight.
It's all good.
Straight's our guy, right? We're talking about him putting in hours, right? There's no OT for Straight doing this video, so we can't rip him for messing that up. We can't rip him at all. Right?
No. Straight knows nothing but love from me.
Absolutely right. Yeah, exactly. At Eric Lindquist, at Shander Betts. That's how you follow the 3 of us at Mr. Brad Thomas. Let's go around real quick because I had something I wanted to show you guys that just popped up in the OddsShopper Discord. But let's just go real quick, rapid fire. Best way to find me is on Twitter, OddsShopper as well. Eric?
Yeah, find me at Eric Lindquist. Yeah, OddsShopper as well.
Brad? Everywhere.
Everywhere. At Mr. Brad Thomas.
Yeah, NBC, bet you might as well pump it up, right?
Okay. If you want to find my stuff, GoldBoys, NBC, Bet US TV, Bet MGM, Bet QL. I'm everywhere, guys. I love talking about sports. I wasn't joking. When they said, Brad, do you want to do this full time? And I said, absolutely. What does that entail? They say, you just talk about sports all day long. I said, sign me up. I watch sports, talk about sports. So make sure if you guys see any of my stuff, interact with it, right? The like goes a long way, especially the like goes a long way in helping me continuously live my dream. They're like, wow, this guy Brad's bringing in a ton of likes and a ton of comments. Keep it up, guys. I appreciate you guys.
Why do you think I'm doing this? So I can ride both of your coattails when it comes to likes. And like you guys have positive communities, people that enjoy. I've been in Philly so long that it's just like, exactly. All right. So real quick, we got to get out of here straight, but do you have that pick that I just sent you in the Discord? Am I missing something here? Because it looked like this was just, look, what is going on? Why is that 3+ strikeouts in the first inning? How are you getting 4 strikeouts? I'm sure there's some bizarre, stupid baseball loophole that you could get, like, well, if the guy walked, you could get 5 strikeouts in an inning. But like, First off, if that's the true case to it, there's no way that plus 1,000 odds represents how likely that is to happen, right? Am I
No.
missing something, Eric, Brad? Like, what the fuck?
No, I mean, he strikes out the side so often. High K rate for the Reds too. You know what bet you should look at? Him to retire the first 3 batters. That's always a
Right,
fun
but
one.
how are you getting more than 3 strikeouts in the first inning? Like, why is there a plus there?
I think they just for consistency.
It's just there. Yeah. It's probably just so that it looks threading correctly. I mean, you could just end it at 3, but also, I don't know, maybe you get 4 and there would be some, the only way that happens is a catcher fumbles it and does whatever. But like,
See, I knew there was something.
It has happened before for 4 strikeouts in an inning for what it's worth, but just very, very insanely rare. Yeah. It has to be a catcher that fumbles it and then they simply advance to first on a strikeout. But let me find out the last time it happened.
Hey, look at this. Look at this. I told you, right? And just
strikeouts.
Unreal. The reality is that it's not plus 1,000. So I get it, but come on, that just seemed kind of
September 2012. There were 2 instances in the same month where it happened. That's pretty wild.
Wow. Unbelievable. Yep. Unbelievable.
Tyler Glass now is the most recent, 2023.
All right, we got a jet. Brad's got work. I got a baby crying. Eric's, it's, I don't know, noon in California. He's got to smoke weed and do nothing, hang with his dog. We'll see you Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern. Thanks to James and all you out there as well.